What's good, Hooligans? It's your boy TornadoMcRae, back at it again with another video. And guys, I gotta talk to y'all, and we actually gotta do a deep dive into something that's really been plaguing my mind. So for those of you who know me, y'all know half of this channel is based on sport. Over the years, I love multiple sports: football, basketball, baseball, NASCAR, you name it, I probably like it. So recently, I've been hearing takes about the greatest receivers in NFL history. Now, all of us, we should know the GOAT wide receiver of all time is Jerry Rice. All-time leader in touchdowns, receptions, receiving yards. Truth be told, nothing needs to be said there. However, the next question that comes into play: who's the second greatest wide receiver of all time? Is it the arrogant but talented diva that played in Philly and Dallas in Terrell Owens? How about the leader of the Decepticons from Detroit in Calvin Johnson? Hey, perhaps it's one of the Wonder Twins from Indianapolis, Marvin Harrison or Reggie Wayne. It could be considered the man who became a legend using only one hand in Odell Beckham Jr. Maybe it's that undersized dog from Carolina who reminded us to ice up, son. Nah, it's definitely got to be the guy who became a verb for making great catches in Randy Moss. Right? Wrong. What if I told y'all the actual second greatest wide receiver of all time hails from the waters of Lake Minnetonka? To start this story, we have to start at the beginning. Larry Fitzgerald Jr. was actually born on August 31st, 1983 in the town of Minneapolis, Minnesota. As a teenager, he was blessed with the opportunity to be a ball boy for the local NFL team in the Minnesota Vikings. Brought on by Coach Dennis Green, Larry was able to get up-close information from the likes of Chris Carter, Randy Moss, Warren Moon, Robert Smith, so on and so forth, being around that locker room. And that mentorship and tutelage would show itself for Larry as he played high school ball for the Academy of Holy Angels, which was a private Catholic school in the city of Minneapolis. Larry's skill set was nothing to scoff at, as he would actually earn 2 first-team All-State selections. However, upon his senior year, he was not eligible to enter the NCAA right away. He didn't meet those requirements due to struggling grades, and because of that, Coach Green and his parents agreed that it would be in Larry's best interest to send him off to Valley Forge Military Academy in Pennsylvania to help straighten him out. Larry would spend the next year there to meet NCAA requirements, but also better himself as a human being and a man in order to mature, grow, and thrive in the next level of football and just in life in general. And that turned out to be the right move, as the next year in 2002, Larry Fitzgerald would enroll at the University of Pittsburgh, where he would become an immediate standout. As a freshman, Larry would put on a show, receiving for 1,005 yards, which is 38th in the country, 69 receptions, 30th in the nation, as well as 12 TDs, which was 11th overall in the nation. He gained a lot of fans, a lot of supporters, and a lot of people were beginning to watch and see who this kid was. And he would follow that up even better the next season. In 2003, his sophomore year, Larry put on a clinic, leading the nation with 1,672 receiving yards, 5th in receptions in 92, and 22 total TDs, which was first in the nation. Because of these impressive numbers, Larry would go on to be named the Big East Offensive Player of the Year, the Biletnikoff Award winner, which goes to the most outstanding receiver in the country, the Walter Camp Award winner, which goes to the most outstanding football player in the country, and would finish second that year in the Heisman voting behind Jason White out of Oklahoma. With all that shine and all that praise, Larry decided it was time to take his talents to the next level and would enter the NFL draft in 2004. Now, if you know the NFL, you know their rules. You have to be genuinely a junior to enter the draft. You have to have been 3 years removed from high school. NFL would actually end up granting Larry permission to enter the draft because he was able to argue that he spent 2 years at Pitt and the 1 year he spent at Valley Forge Military Academy would fulfill the requirement of being gone out of high school for 3 years. And that time at Valley Forge was also tremendous in helping his development, growth, and maturity as not only a player, but as a man as well.
Larry, 6'3", 225. Had a chance to meet him this year. We were at the Virginia Tech Pitt game with College Game Day. And I think when you look at Larry Fitzgerald, you see a kid big, and he has that Lynn Swan ability to be that acrobat and have that body control and the work ethic of a Jerry Rice.
With all that handled, Larry Fitzgerald would actually be drafted 3rd overall to the Arizona Cardinals behind only Eli Manning and Robert Gallery. And not only that, he was also the cover athlete for the following NCAA game, NCAA 2005. But it's here when Larry Fitzgerald began to show how great he truly was. Larry Fitzgerald would spend all 17 years of his career with the Arizona Cardinals. He would start 261 of the 263 games he played in the red and white, and he would actually have his first 1,000-yard season in only his 2nd season. From there, the career numbers just pile up. Larry would have 9 1,000-yard receiving seasons and accumulate 17,492 total receiving yards, which is 2nd all-time only behind Jerry Rice. He would have 5 seasons where he had over 100+ catches and total 1,432 catches, which is 2nd all-time behind Jerry Rice. He had 5 seasons where he had 10 or more touchdowns and would total out to 121 touchdowns, which is 6th all-time. He'd also have 906 receiving first downs, which is 2nd all-time behind only Jerry Rice. And for comparison, those names I mentioned earlier fall in this order: Reggie Wayne at 763, Marvin Harrison at 756, Terrell Owens at 748, Randy Moss at 704, Steve Smith at 648, Calvin Johnson at 552, and Odell Beckham Jr. at 371. Larry is an 11-time Pro Bowler, which is 2nd all-time only to Jerry Rice's 13th. And yet with all of this, Larry Fitzgerald somehow only has 1 All-Pro selection. Mind you, Larry accumulated all these stats catching passes from 21 different quarterbacks. And this is the list of quarterbacks he had to deal with: Josh McCown, Sean King, John Navarre, Kurt Warner, Matt Leinart, Tim Rattay, Brian St. Pierre, Derek Anderson, Max Hall, John Skelton, Rich Bartell, Kevin Cobb, Ryan Lindley, Brian Hoyer, Carson Palmer, Drew Stanton, Blaine Gabbert, Sam Bradford, Josh Rosen, Mike Glennon, and Kyler Murray. And not only that, with that many receptions, that many yards, that many quarterback changes, Larry Fitzgerald has a stat that no other receiver had, in which he has more career tackles at 41 than drop passes at 29, which means Larry Fitzgerald is more likely to tackle your defensive back than he is to drop a pass. Now, with all the numbers that back him up as number 2, why isn't Larry considered to be the 2nd greatest receiver of all time? Truth be told, it's the reserved nature of who Larry is. Larry was never the showboaty, the arrogance to match a Terrell Owens. He never had the size of a Calvin Johnson. He was never the trash talker of a Steve Smith. He was never the showmanship of an Odell Beckham Jr. He didn't have an all-time great QB like Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison. Larry did his business and did it for the betterment of the team and didn't draw attention to himself, regardless of who was throwing him the ball. And because of it, not only the media, but the fans also lose Larry in the shuffle. And it's kind of wild at how great he is with what he was given. Imagine if he had had a Tom Brady. Imagine if he had had a Peyton Manning. Imagine if he had had a Drew Brees. Imagine if he had had a Joe Montana. For a man who is 2nd in nearly every receiver category, it's crazy to see how much disrespect he gets. So the next time that you're in the barbershop, the lunch table, on the game, the group chat, debating on who the 2nd greatest wide receiver in the NFL is, make sure you include the name Larry Fitzgerald, because hey, he's got the name Larry Legend for a reason. Just keep that in mind.